grace.fishing.com. Just had these ones out on the boat today doing the history trip. So if you want to catch a fish, I've been guiding for 30 years, you're probably just about guaranteed to catch some fish. Or if you want to do the history trip, or if you want to do some bird watching, but not bird watching on the lakefront in Taupo. Ones with feathers on.
And how do we contact
what's your phone number?
How do we find
my
you?
phone number is 027 620 7326.
Wicked.
So I got all old black and white photos at home of all the family with their horses on all these hills with deer on the back of the horses. Yeah. Partially, yeah. Yeah, but that wood's hard. As you try and cut that with a chainsaw, it bounces off it.
I suppose also it's fresh water, so it doesn't rot.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Seawater things.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Road wood.
Yeah. So back in about 1910, 1920s, there was all walkways through the wetlands over there. So a lot of people don't realise this is one of the biggest wetlands in the whole of New Zealand is right here. Starts at Waihi village here and goes all the way down to just the side of Tauranga Taupo and about 3k back to the highway.
Is it Motuopa?
Yeah. It's all connected. There's about 50 species of bird life in here. There's about 10 of them come and go from the ocean. Yeah, I've seen these royal spoonbills out here. They stand about that high.
Oh wow!
And these oyster catchers.
The white ones, eh?
Yeah. There's even oyster catchers, Arctic terns. There's about 10 of them come from the ocean. Spend about 3-4 weeks here. Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't know. Even the normal red-backed seagulls. There's a colony of about 3,000 on the side of Ruapehu. Yeah.
Did you ever hear that there were mutton birds?
Oh yeah.
That the old people
Yeah. There's mutton birds out on Mutataiko Island. Mutton birds there. They were actually going to release some about 10 years ago, but they never did. Yeah. But if you go to that island, I've been around that island on my boat. The island is completely different to all the land around Lake Taupo. It looks like from another time.
Yes.
Yeah. They reckon that when this was a mountain, they reckon it blew, and that's the top stuck there. So if you go to the island, if you only go 100 metres off the island, you're in 400 feet of water. There's even old pūtakawa trees there. Pūtakawa trees. Yeah.
So you go out there?
No, I've been around it on my boat.
That's what I meant.
Oh yeah. But there's old caves and burial grounds there. Yeah.
Do you have permission to go on? Do you have
No, well, I've never bothered to find out or anything. But not many people like going on it, on the island. Yeah, that's it. But the lake level is all about money now. It's all about money. You know, with Genesis and even Tūwharetoa. Yeah.
What do you mean by that? It's all about money.
Well, Tūwharetoa gets a massive percentage off the water for a start. And they've been doing that for years.
just the water? So we're not talking about Chris Jolly's boats. We're not.
No. Just the water. Yeah.
So the power companies, through the various Mercury contacts, with the other player.
So you would have heard about the Sri waterway system that they're trying to bring in, eh?
Yes.
Well, I reckon it'll be better for the reason at the moment there's all these power companies all over New Zealand all getting their money out of the different things. When it only goes to Sri, then it won't be so much blooming spread around all over the show. Yeah. Because the lake, the last, say, 12, 15 years, when I grew up, the lake was always high in winter and low in summer, but not anymore. Not since the money come into it.
That what's keeping the levels artificially raised.
Yeah.
So they can generate more.
If you put a gun to the Genesis man's head and said, I want the lake level down 2 feet in 3 weeks, they can do it. Yeah, they try and say, oh, you know, if we get a low lake, oh, it's lack of rain, it's bull crap. This is just one big hydro lake now.
So in effect it's a reservoir.
Yeah.
It's no longer a natural water.
Nah, that's
So
it.
are you happy for me to keep this on film?
Right,
What you're saying
no,
right now?
yeah, that's right.
Good,
That's,
good, good.
And so the Department of Conservation uses now, if there's any erosion, they just say, oh, because it's a natural water body,
Yeah.
we're not going to take any
no, that's right. Yeah,
any mitigation
that's
action.
Yeah.
And I'm going, how can it something that's controlled by a control be called a natural water body?
that's right. Yeah,
And it's got how many intakes
yeah,
now?
yeah. Heaps of them. Yeah.
Nothing natural about that either.
Nah.
So,
See, I counted them on the map one day. There's about 37 rivers and streams feed Lake Taupo. 37. And they've all got fish, you know, trout go up all of them. Yeah. But I never realised how famous this lake was until I started being a fishing guide. You know, fellas all around the world come here. Most people, the trout's about this big, but Taupo like that. But these fish came from California about 120 years ago and got released into here.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
Darby was part of that, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Thomas Ryan?
yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen, there's a film come out about 12 years ago, a fellow called John Ball produced it. He done 2,500 hours of filming, cut it into 70 minutes, and it's called Lake Taupo, the Fisherman's El Dorado or something. He's got me come out and film me and some of my customers. Yeah, but he done pretty well with it. And then his next job was to do one of the hydro skiing. But he was actually a ski instructor on Ruapehu for 25 years. Canadian fella. Yeah. But you know what? He come out on my boat and he videoed me, and I explained how the lake level's all, you know, up and down in the river. And he's going, yep, people need to know this. He's filming me. And then 1 week before the film come out, we were all going to go and see the film. I rang him up and I said, oh, John, have you got that piece of me speaking about the lake levels and that? And he went, oh, no, I haven't, Bill. And I said, oh, why not? Oh, I would have put a bit of a damper on the film. Yeah, and that's the truth. That's the truth.
If anything, it adds flavour.
Yeah.
because there's no accountability. That's
No.
I see happening. They all look the other way there. Like you say, they're happy to take the money, but not actually pay for the consequences of taking the money, and particularly on the taiao, on the environment.
Now I'll tell you three little things you might have heard about here. So back in 1840, the Māori village was right there where those pine trees are.
Was that Te Rapa?
Yeah. So 1840, done a big mudslide from all the hot ground up there, and it killed over 50 of them there. So they moved it along to where Braxmere is now, the motel. Then 1920, done it again, killed some more Māoris. So they've gone as far as they can now to the right. And only 12 years ago, Turangi shook every 10 minutes right through one night. And so they evacuated the village, and they weren't allowed back for about 2 months because they thought the whole hillside was going. Even all the birds.
That's right. Yep.
Even the birds left. Yeah. So they were going to put the town water supply in here about 5 or 6 years ago, but they won't because they'll have to go underground and they'll ruin all the old urupa where the old people died from the mudslide. So they're all on the old septic tank cleaning still over here. Yeah. But prior to when the chief died, Hippie Te Hauhau, back in 92, when he died, about 10,000 people visited that just in 5 days.
Yes.
Cars were parked right back to where you are.
Sure.
Yeah. And I was actually doing my boat course for my skipper's ticket with Jimmy Hill back then.
Right. With Jimmy.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's all slips happening all the time. See the slips? All the big slips.
Yes,
Yeah. But you know, about 150 years ago, they would have taken most of the good trees out, the native trees.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's still prone to slippage now.
Yeah. That's right.
Have you noticed the change in the clarity of the water over the time you've
What's that? Do what?
The clarity of the water has that
Yeah. See, if you go to Western Bays, right around, see that peninsula there? Round the corner is another whole area just like this. That's the Western Bays. That's Waihora, Waihaha, Whanganui. all those ones.
We've been over there.
Yeah, you go around there, the water's even clearer than here.
Yes.
And there's no weed. There's no weed around
Yes,
there.
yes.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll show you some old photographs in here.
Yep.
So his name's Thomas Samuel Grace. That's 6 generations ago on my side of the family. So he was a missionary man. So he came here. He brought the first horse to this area. But he hopped off the ship in Auckland. Hopped off the ship in Auckland. Stayed there for 2 years and learned how to speak Māori before he came here. So his wife and all his kids trekked through the bush here. And there was 27 pās between here and Taupo back in those days. And the ones at Motuopa, that was the biggest one. So they paddled to the lakefront in Taupo, picked them up, paddled back, and they stayed the night at Motuopa. Then they paddled across to Pukawa.
Yes.
Oh, so that's him and his wife before they left England. So that's the arrival. See the old canoe, and see there they are there in the back of the canoe. That's the arrival at Pukawa over here. So that's where he built the mission house. Yeah.
Some photos, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
This is just spinning round and round.
Okay. So that's the mission house that he built, which is no longer there. That's a Riti. That's where the Riti timeshare is now.
Oreti.
Yeah, that's where that is. So this fella here was the chief when he got here, over here. This fella here.
What's his name?
What's it? Pukawa Tiheo.
Pukawa Te
Or something like I can't quite see it there. Yeah. But anyway, he was the chief here. There was another chief at Pukawa. Well, they were fighting with each other. Well, the Grace fella got them to shake hands in the end.
Yeah, sure.
So this is all Pataka there.
Pataka.
Yeah.
Was that your ancestor?
Where is that now?
Oh, goodness knows where that'll be now.
Is that at Jimmy Hill's Wairake Terraces? I see one there.
Nah, that's not it. That's the original old one, that one.
Oh, chair.
Yeah, I'll take photos.
I got a date and place for that. No, that was taken here.
Probably.
You're looking at the 1900 huts at Jimmy Hill's.
At Jimmy Hill's place. Yeah.
Now that's a proper photo. That's taken off that point right over there, looking back where we came from. See that little hill? See that over here? Yeah, look. See that little hill there? See that? No, it's not Pihanga.
What is it? Number?
Oh, yeah, it's got a real long. Yeah. Well, that's it there. See, that's it there. There, look.
Oh.
So that's a really old photo. It's probably about 1910, that photograph.
Okay.
See the old canoes?
Yes. Wow.
And the old English people. So that's what the Māoris used to make their wharis out of. That's rapo, the rapo. Yeah. That's old photo. So we're going to end up round here. Now,
yes.
Now, have you ever heard of the Waitāhunui Pā? Not where you fellas are?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go around there today, but
nice.
you can't see any ruins there, but that's where it was.
Okay.
So that's on our land now.
Yep.
But we're going to end up going around there. Okay. So that's my great-grandfather. Yep. He was killed in the Māori battalion.
Yep.
Yeah. So I got his name, William Henry Tūwharatua Grace. That's my name.
Okay.
So believe it or not, that fella there is actually his father, this fella's father.
Yes. So
there's a Puatata Street in Turangi that's named after him.
Yep.
Now his Puatata's wife was my great-grandmother. Mm. She died about 1987. Mm. I was 19. So she lived to about 97 years old. So she even outlived 3 of her own sons. And she had all her faculties. She used to live right next to the hot pool in Te Kanu. So I used to go in there, have a yak with her. One day, see this fella here? I'd only seen, now my father was 4 years old when he got killed in the Māori battalion, but I've seen photos of him. So about 20 years ago, I was down in Masterton, and I was looking in this encyclopedias, these magazines, and I saw this photo. I said, I'm sure that's my great-grandfather. Can I borrow? Yeah, take it. Well, the old lady was still alive then at Te Kanu, so I stopped and showed her the photo. So his nickname was Boise. And I said, is this the grandfather? She said, my Boise. And she told me everything that happened in the war. So what happened, he got sick, he got a fever, and he got told to wait for 3 days because the doctor's coming. And he insisted, carried on fighting. He walked out, and within 200 metres, he stood on a tripwire. Boom, that was the end. That was the end of him. Yeah. See, so the Grace fella, this fella here, he had eight boys. Well, three of the boys married the Māori girls over here. So that goes way back to then. So that fella had twins. He had a set of twins. I come from one of the twins. Yeah. That's the church at Te Kanu there. Inside there. Now that Grace fella, that's one of his sons built that in 1870. That's in our family land down there. Now the Grace fella, he planted all fruit trees around there. Big fruit trees like this. But about blimmin' 15 years ago, when Genesis started mucking around with the river, it used to flood all our land, just killed all the trees, killed all the fruit trees. Yeah, they didn't give a crap. Now that photo there is taken from where the Waitanui Pa was, and that's the river mouth there. So that's old Tareiti, the old lady. She put that hut there in 1940. That's right where the Pa was, Waitanui Pa. So we're sitting right there at the moment. We're over here. See, the wetlands goes from here all the way down past there to there. And you can see why our Māoris chose to live here. We get a lot of southerlies in the winter here, so it's sheltered here. It's actually colder in Taupo than here. And they got all the bird life. They got the hot pools here and everything. So I had a horse down here in our family land for about 3 years. I used to go and call out to it, ride it up and down the beach. That old fella there, he spent 12 years regularly fishing with me. When he died, I worked it out, he spent about $90,000 with me fishing. Yeah, no, I'm not kidding you. He was Englishman. There's my horse there. Oh, there's the Royal Spoonbills. See the Royal Spoonbills there? That's some of them. That's my horse on the beach around at the river mouth. It was snowing that day. See the snow? That's the hut. Now, I done that hut up about 12 years ago, tied it all up, cut all the scrub around everything. Now, when my great-grandmother put the hut there, she had 50 metres of beach in front of her because it was at its natural level. So I done it all up, put a locked door and everything on it, and I'll show you what happened to it. There, look, that's what happened to it. That's Genesis for you. Flooded it. So I've given up on it now. I've given up on it. It's one little thing. So that's the hot steam up here. So on a warm day, you can't see the steam. If you come on a cold morning, you can see all the activity. But after when they evacuated the Swidders 12 years ago, when it left, I noticed it new openings, new thermal openings. So I've lived here all my life, and the mountain's never done a big explosion. It's had heaps of little ones. And I reckon it just lets off the pressure so it doesn't do the big one.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Now there's their wakas. That was about 15 years ago. That was the grand opening for the new marae at Pukawa. They got it, and those are proper. Those are proper tautra canoes, not the old fiberglass ones. Yes. See, now look at that there, backing into Pukawa. See them there? Yes. And that day, boy, the waves was like this. It was rough. See, now the lake level was really low that year. The swan done the nest there. That's autumn round at the river mouth. I caught one of those, put up at my house till it was small. And there's me on my horse. But Thomas Samuel, he had 8 sons. His youngest son was called Augustus. Well, about 5 years ago, I went to a wedding here in Turangi, and this fella goes, "Oh, you'll be related to this fella, David Grace. He lives down Wellington." He said, "Here, ring him up. He's got a son called Mike." So I rang him up. Now, there's this book called A Driven Man, was written in about 2008 by a David Grace. Yes. Well, David Grace is Thomas Samuel's youngest son's great grandchild, and he's about 97, man. So I met him. But if you look it up on the internet, it's called A Driven Man, written by David Grace. A lot of the quotes in there are from this fella's diary, the Grace fella. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
A Driven Man. A Driven Man. Yeah.
They had the book launch in town, Taupo.
Yeah. We'll be. Yeah. But they reckon when the Māori first found this, they thought it was a big inland inlet from the ocean.
Of course, it is an ocean, isn't it?
Yeah. And then they tasted, it's fresh water. So there's an old fish my father used to catch when he was a kid called a kokapo or something, a little native fish. Kokapo, yeah, but the trout have just about eaten them out.
I imagine the catfish have done some eating.
Yeah.
We've seen a massive decline in the inanga on.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, and the crayfish and the kura.
And it's not the humans. So I figure it's
that's right. Yeah. Yeah. See, a lot of these old houses are the old English style from the Grace fellas.
They are.
Yeah.
You know the old man. I can't remember his name. Who was a minister at the church.
Yeah.
And created the milk factory.
Oh, yeah.
What was his name?
Dutch name.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. And apparently they used to go around and collect milk from different parts of the bay.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
And they'd give it to him and he'd bring it.
Because they reckon there was even cows getting milked in Waihora, Western Base.
Yes.
Exactly.
I took photos inland of the old cow bales.
Standing. Yeah.
And when they cleared it, they deliberately burnt it all down.
Yeah.
Deliberately.
Sad, eh? Sad. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That place has got all nice shrubs planted along the thing there. Hey. No. That's right, yeah. So when all the people got evacuated out of here, all most of our younger family can see is the money. That's all they can see. So I'm one of the old, you only have the Māoris usually operate. The oldest son has the biggest say. Well, I call it, unfortunately, I'm the oldest son, which is true. My father's dead. So Te Reiti's oldest son, that was my great-grandfather. So when I first moved to Turangi, some of my aunties said, "Oh, Bill, come to our meeting, blah, blah, blah," because they wanted to, I call it ruin the land. And I said, no, I'm not. I said, I want that land just left how it is, natural. I said, that's how Te Reiti and them all would have wanted it. Now, one of my, the old fella, the last of my grandfather's brothers only died 3 years ago. He was 87. So once he died, we'll call it some bad members of my family, went behind the family's backs, got 5 big business from Rotorua, and I just happened to be uptown one day. Sorry, my great uncle was still alive. And he goes, "Oh, you coming to this meeting, boy?" I said, "What meeting?" "Oh, those bastards," meaning to say my family haven't told me. He goes, "Oh, it's at 3 o'clock in the thing." So I went. This is about probably 15 years ago. Now, I'd heard some of my family members had decided that Genesis was going to pay our family $15 million over 2 years. They were going to bring all their bloody big machines down in there, but if it didn't work, we just get left a big mess and they bugger off. Now, how stupid is that? So I went to this meeting and I'm sitting there, and there's my uncle Nana over there and about 4 old Māori fellas that come from way down the beach, and there's 5 businessmen there. None of them knew who I was, and I'm sitting there. And I see the map, and so I said, "Oh, do you mind if I say something?" And I stood up, and this Māori fellow who's about 40, he said, "Well, who are you?" And I said, "Bill Grace." I said, "That's my uncle." He was just married into the family. It wasn't even a Grace. And I said, "Now, I'm not here for the money." And as soon as you say you're not here for the money, you got them by the nuts straight away. And you know what I had them all do, all these businessmen? I had them looking at the floor like that. And I said, "Who decided 15 million? Come on, who decided the 15 million? No one." I said, that's just pittance to you fellas. And I said, "Leave the land as it is." I said, "That's a big filtration system that's been there hundreds of years." And they had nothing to say. So I walked out, and then a month later we had a proper meeting with all our family there, and there was only 2 businessmen there on that day. And next minute some of our families started, like arguing, and they thought, "Oh, well, I'm not wasting my time here." And he just walked out, and I said, "Yeah, beautiful, leave the land as it is." Because when I moved, I used to chase your wild pigs around there, catch pigs in there. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's pretty sad.
Well, I watched a documentary the other day called Poisoning Aotearoa.
Yeah.
It was about 1080.
Yeah, I've seen that.
The amount of 1080 that's spread here happens nowhere else in the world.
This is the last country blooming using it, man.
And Hawaii, they're doing not so much 1080, but spraying, test spraying.
America banned 1080 30 years ago. I had these 2 old fellas in my boat, I'm not kidding you, 15 years ago. The helicopter was dropping poison while we were fishing, and this American 2 old fellas, about 80, said, "What's that chopper doing up there, Bill?" I said, "It's dropping poison." "What sort of poison?" I said, 1080. "Are you still using that shit in this country?" And he was just disgusted, man. Yeah. Did they think New Zealand's clean and green? It's not there.
Well, it was traced back.
It's just a racket. It
was traced back to a place in Alabama.
Yeah.
That are the only place in the world that makes it.
That's it.
Selling it around the world.
No, that's it. And it's corrupt. It's corruption, man.
Oh, isn't it?
And even to this day, they've just had a big stink because they did a 1080 drop and killed all these.
And you get stupid people in Parliament. They think they can bring New Zealand back to just bird life. They'll never do it. I mean, how you got to get rid of the rats for a start?
You got to eat them.
Yeah, eat them. That's it. Yeah.
So much else.
Yeah. But this is an island here between the fish. This is called Motu. What is it? And I'll tell you. Think of it in a minute. I keep forgetting it. Something like, it starts with M anyway. But there's multiple Māori owners in this island. Yeah. Makatu. This is called Makatu.
This is Makatu.
This is Makatu Island. Yeah.
So is that on an old map?
Or definitely. Yeah.
On an old map.
Yeah.
Makatu.
Yeah. And see, a lot of Māori places in New Zealand. There's three other places around New Zealand that name the same thing.
Sure.
Yeah, there's lots of Waitaha Nui.
Yeah.
6.
Yeah, that's it.
It's Waitaha Nui.
Yeah, see the river going up right there? See the river? Yeah.
So it's natural outflow, it's a delta.
That's what called a delta, yeah. If you come out here on a calm day, real calm, I could show you areas where the springs are bubbling up out of the sand and water. And that's
the posts of the original palisades in the lake.
Right?
Is there any palisade markers in the lake?
No.
May I add to that? When the port over there, all the timber and the wood and that was all taken to rebuild over from Takana to
right.
Waihi.
Okay, yeah, right.
They rafted and took the timber.
Yeah, right,
Oh,
Well, that makes sense. Repurposing.
yeah. This is where we saw some pigs on the beach a couple of days ago, just in here, wild pigs. But there's cattle running around in here, cows.
Lovely kayaking up there.
Oh, okay. Yep. Right. Yeah, I've had a couple of Americans, fishing with me, and they say to me, "You ever been to the States, Bill?" And I go, "Nah." And they go, "How do you got it all here anyway, son?" That's what they love, getting that, a bit of pumice and taking it home.
Yeah, they're intrigued.
Yeah.
That it floats.
They say, that's a goddamn floating rock. But the funniest thing in the morning when I come out early, see the steam on the hill up there?
Yes, I did.
And they all, the Americans say 9 times out of 10, they say, "That hill on fire, Bill." But you bring them fishing, I'll bring them fishing out here. There might only be one boat or anything. And they question me if I brought them to the right place because there's no one else here. And then I have 2 more boats turn up and I go, "Oh shit, it's bloody busy today." But they're so gullible, you tell them anything, they'll believe you. They're so gullible. Yeah. Now when I was a kid, there was no mouth here. The mouth used to come out over here.
Yes.
And my father used to cast my line for me, and that when we were looking straight out at the village over here, Waihi. But a lot of tourists tell me they're fascinated with New Zealand because you only have to drive half an hour up the road and the scenery changes again. Yeah. And a lot of these Americans, you got plenty of money, they're millionaires, and they still tell me the road between Taupo and Turingi around the lake is the best drive they've ever been on in their whole life.
Wow.
Yeah. But a lot of them tell me about this lake called Lake Tahoe. It's about the size of Taupo. Probably 50 Americans told me.
Tahoe.
Yeah, Lake Tahoe.
T-A-H-O.
Yeah. And that's what they say to me. They say, this is what they say. I'm not kidding you. They go to me, they say, "Oh, we got a lake just like yours over our Lake Tahoe, Bill." And then they pause, and you know what they say? "Well, we've pretty well fucked it now." And I say, "Why is that?" "Because there's houses built right around it." Yeah. I'll just chuck the anchor out, and we'll have a cup of tea. What did you drop there, Perry?
No.
Oh. Oh, okay. Now you want tea or coffee? It's either or, either tea or coffee. What do you want, Perry? Hey?
I'd love a cup of tea, please.
A cup of tea? How about you?
Here's some to add.
Oh, okay.
I'll go with coffee.
Coffee, yeah, coffee. So you want a tea or coffee? Coffee. Coffee, yeah. Now, do you have sugar and milk in it, or?
Oh, I do.
2 sugar? 1, 2?
Depends how big.
So you got a cup like that. How much sugar you want in it?
I have 2.
2 in there. You have sugar in your?
Just 1 thing.
1. And you have coffee? Tea? Coffee. Yeah. And do you have?
I'll have a cup of tea, no sugar.
No sugar. Okay. Yeah, I'll have the same. But a lot of women ask me what's the biggest fish I've ever caught. So I told this lady one day, and it took me about 7 or 8 minutes to tell it, but I'll tell it a little bit shorter here. So I said I hooked this fish. It took me about an hour, and I finally got it up, and its head was over this side of the boat, and its tail was over that side. And an American, oh my God! I said, well, it wouldn't fit in my net. See the net over there? She said, well, what did you do? I said, well, I towed it all the way to the shore, hopped off the boat, and landed it. And I said, well, it was too big to take home in one net, so I cut it in half with the axe and come back and got the other half. She said, I think you're pulling my tit, Bill. I said, yeah. Yeah, I had one American lady, we were fishing, it was quite cold one morning. You know what she said to me? She said to me, don't you think the fish are getting a little cold down there, Bill? And I said, oh yeah, sometimes you catch them and they're wearing a little woolen jumper. And I just kept a straight face and she just looked at me. Yeah. Well, see, our trout, these trout come from California, about 1890, and this lady, she's sitting in the boat, she said to me, where did these fish come from, Bill? I said, oh, they come from California, and she had a big think like this. She said, well, I guess they swam a pretty long way. So I didn't say anything. I says, yeah, they did, didn't they?
And then hiked over the hills.
They did well to get up the Hooker Falls.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. See, back in the 80s, you know, when deer were worth big money and the helicopter pilots, these pilots, this is back in the 80s, that they spread the word around that they'd seen actually a mower way in the back of field.
That's right.
Yeah.
And a chap from Australia come, had claimed he found the evidence and he got on TV.
No, I'll tell you what happened. So these guys spread around that had seen a mower. So they told these 2 guys, I think they come from Hokitika too. So these guys walked all the way in, took them a week to get into where they'd seen this mower, because these guys were on the helicopter. So these guys went, you know what they found? Hanging in the tree, a lawnmower.
So that was
Yeah. But they found it was funny when the COVID, just after the lockdown, and the big queues outside KFC chicken, and these 2 Māori ladies were sitting there like this, and the interviewers was on the news, and they go, oh, g'day ladies, and what are you doing here? Oh, we're just waiting for our KFC. They've always been, what, shut? How long has it been shut? They said, oh, too long. They said, yeah, I've lost, I think 3 kg. How much you lost? And they're lining up in the queue to get someone. But I used to like that joke about that Billy T and Tui Tika. And he says, that's the best one. He says, yeah, Tui come picked us up the other night, cruising along. He said, we stopped at McDonald's. We're sitting in the back there, and Tui winds down the window. He said, oh, I'll have 6 egg burgers and 5 litres of Coke. Oh, beauty, Tui must be shouting. I said, you fellas want anything? He was good, eh? He was good. One of the best ones, remember the old news, and they used to give the weather, and they got the whole map in New Zealand. The lady used to do it, and on Billy T stands there like dressed up as a woman, and he's pointing up to Kaitai, and he goes, oh, it's going to be raining up in Kaitai for the weekend. Oh, raining and thunder and over Gisborne, over the coast. He said, so if you live in the middle, you might as well bloody stay there. You're no bloody good anywhere else. Yeah. And then one day when the police won a crime scene, and he said, oh, the police are currently looking at the public toilets got broken into recently, and he said, so currently the people got nothing to go on. He was a good one. He was a good comedian, though. Sometimes I think about when he got his new heart, and it was about this heart. You know, he probably used to race around doing all those videos and that, and probably wasn't even fit, running around. Well, he goes like this. He's standing on the beach with his Maori cloak and all his warriors on him, and they're trying to trade the weapons. And he goes, oh, we'll give you 4 muskets for this. And haven't you got any cash?
No, he turns around his tyre.
Yeah, it turns his tyre.
On the back, it's got Visa, MasterCard, all of these other stickers down there.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
We'll take this.
No, he was blooming good, all right. He was good. Nah, that's right. But the beauty about here fishing, I can usually bring someone out here because this shelters it from the wind. So you just Taupo's too exposed, and there's more fish here because you got most of the rivers at this end of the lake. Yeah.
Rightio, we're back home in Waitahanui at the table looking where we've been to today. Perry, can you just take us through, just recapping our little adventure?
Yes, from where I thought we'd go to, we have been, but
so where did we start?
we started at the side of the marina.
Yes.
The marina over here, there's a road here, comes down round.
Yes.
So we got round here, and we set off the boat out here, past the historic wharf, and then we stopped a couple of times on the boat, went down in front of Waihi, had the village, and then we went up slowly up here to this point and corner. I thought we might have been taken to pointed out the site of the Pukawa mission station, which is up here, but we didn't get that far. I have previously pointed out indicated the area.
So just around that point was where the old totara tree growing out of the rock face, those ancient totaras.
Just about here, and got a nice photo. Got a nice photo of it, and so we stopped just round the corner, and we went straight back over here, and to Delta, and to Tongariro Outlet, and from Delta down here, down here to about this point, and where the great Waitanui Pa once stood,
and where Bill's great-grandmother's little whare is, that was down there too, eh?
Down there.
Tureiti.
And then we went back, and Bill pointed out the separateness of the islands, and the last one, I think they've got this as the Jones,
Jones Island is this one. Jones, Makitu, and Te Kapua.
So he pointed out the hundreds of owners of Makatu Island. They're not living on it, but they're owners of it. And then we just went round the corner here where it was from the fairly rough, choppy lake that had blown up, northerly wind. And so we stopped there with Bill, and we had a coffee and some biscuits, and Bill gave us a talk, and then we came back to the back to where we'd started, and from here Bill stopped off an old family home down at Te Kanu here, and after that we've come all the way back home. So it was 3 hours on the boat, almost to the minute, and it was I think it was quite pleasant. We could see things sort of like the convents at Waihi, the convent at Waihi, and a couple of features where the paramount chiefs are buried that you don't see from the road or from the lake edge itself. So that was it. A different perspective, and we got our little loop around to familiarise ourselves with that part end of the lake. Bill said you could only get there through being on a horse, or by land, by horse, did he say, or
motorbike.
Extraordinary to think that there's a proposal to I'm presuming to make the equivalent of the tail race canal at Tokanu, but they wanted to put 3 through there. Can you imagine how
they want to do away there? There are 50 birds and 30 from I think overseas that are in quite rare bird life. As Bill pointed out, the biggest wetland, rarest wetland is from Tauranga Taupo, extends right down through to the delta here, and yes, they wanted to put massive reservoirs and raising the lake and completely destroy this head, environmental wise.
And just along here where we went, I remember he pointed out the black-billed gulls colony there, and I read in the paper that that's the most endangered gull in the world. It's endemic to this country, and there they've got a major colony right there.
Bill also talked about other threatened species that have been accelerated with the changing of the lake and the lake levels, and where there was some natural growth vegetation, and that is now all gone.